Wonderful day, wonderful day, wonderful day. This is your neighborhood sensei Fouché telling all y'all stay woke. But relax, and take notes. All music on Stay Woke provided by Nasty Noise Music Productions, J.F. Winter. N.M.P is the acronym. No sponsors here. We all the way live. One thing I was thinking of, and I'm a constant processor, and we're talking about, finding and living happiness. You know what I'm saying? And it takes a lot of hard work and dedication in keeping yourself in check. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that you should take for granted. That you have dual identity, trying to take control of your unconscious or your autopilot. You have your subconscious being, which is your true deep moral self, and you have what I call the conscious con, which will be the conscious mind, which is your manipulative self, your self of existence that lives in dishonesty and insecurity. You know what I'm saying? So let me make a quick reference. When we've been talking about the now, and there's many moments which are the now. Even in my last sentence, that was past tense and being now. Point being, now is the moment to be consistent in progressiveness and assertiveness in that progressiveness. You know what I'm saying? And assertiveness doesn't mean overly aggressive. It just means consistent in your persistence. So the point I was trying to make, and what I started this reference to, is that if you don't address most, if not any and all situations at the immediate moment, there is going to be a future moment, to call it that, where that's going to be readdressed. In most or all probability. So if you create a situation, or there's a situation of disagreement with you and someone else in regards to you not following through in the aspect of honesty and openness within the communication of relationships, then that's going to be addressed on the back end. You know what I'm saying? If there are commitments, or in government we call it constitution, which is your moral code or your moral compass of being, and how you choose to live, your life in your most comfortable space. You know what I'm saying? And we'll just loosely call it, your residence, your home. You know what I'm saying? Apartment, room, studio, or whatever it is. That's your place, your domain of solitude, comfortability, and rest. You know what I'm saying? But again, if you don't honor um, your commitments and your responsibilities immediately on that front end, then you create what they call in this Adlerian psychology time. You trap yourself in time because now there's an angst and a worry or an anxiety that is created and will build up and eventually be addressed and possibly erupt. You know what I'm saying? Because you didn't handle and address in full understanding and commitment at the initial point of that moment. So when you don't do that, then you create the future probability of that being readdressed in a sense of maybe disgust, disrespect, anger, frustration. You know what I'm saying? Because your passive aggressiveness left that unresolved. And when that's unresolved, like that's going to linger. You know what I'm saying? So don't be surprised when that comes back up, and you can't fault the other person because the other person is committing themselves to the respect that they feel they should garner from you, honoring them as a person and being an honorable person, someone that should be treated in a fair degree of respect. So if they get salty or they get upset, because you were not completely honest in your commitments and your word, then that's going to wind up coming back, and then you get trapped in time of past and future because something ain't right, but then you just kind of treading water hoping that it doesn't come back up. And then if the person on the other end, the receiving end, doesn't address it or bring it up, that's their own passive aggressiveness, and then you create what they would call a degree of control, or you gave basically allowed that person validation by you being passive aggressive or dismissive in addressing what was not resolved. But for the person that created the situation, like, if you get salty because somebody addressed something on the back end that wasn't resolved, you know what I'm saying? If you get salty, then that is strong narcissistic traits. Non-accountability, you know what I'm saying? Immaturity, because then you almost like a little kid where you don't want to, say that you're wrong, but you embarrassed that you got called out, and then, you kind of want to cower and then hope that with enough time, if it's left alone, that it's just going to go away and there's a full healing process. And that's not true. You know what I'm saying? That's basically putting a Band-Aid again on, more of a severe cut. Like, that's going to bleed through all day if it's not attained to properly. And being able to keep proper care and be informative in the process and committed in communication towards understanding healing. So again, we dealing with The Power of Now, A Guide to Spiritual Enlightenment by Eckhart Tolle. And we in chapter 4. And chapter 4 is named Mind Strategies for Avoiding the Now. And that's what we've been kind of talking about, is avoidance or neglect, because, you don't want to face your fears or face your problems. So you stay problem-based instead of solution oriented. And that winds up to where there's a consistency of where you say things don't go right, or yeah, I was having a fantastic day, but then, they ruined it because, they attacked me. Well, what do you mean? Well, we had a discussion about something, and they said that I really didn't follow through, and well, did you? Well, kind of. What do you mean, kind of? Like, you basically had 1 foot in and 1 foot out and telling me that you swimming? Like, come on. Like, you wasn't committed. So if you had 1 foot in, 1 foot in and 1 foot out, and that person is frustrated because, they in a position to where they trusted your honor or your word, and then you kind of, reneged. You know what I'm saying? So how that goes, you know what I'm saying? Don't do unto others what you don't want done unto you, because when it's done to you, you can't be mad. You just be the hypocrite. So, in sub-explanation into our chapter 4, we're now going to read freedom from unhappiness. And we're going to, fold through. I'm not sure how far we're going to get, but, we're going to get there. I'm just kind of thumbing through just to see how long we have. And I don't know, we might finish the chapter today. We might not, but let's focus on now. So let's start dropping some information. Again, freedom from unhappiness. And let me take a sip of water before I begin reading this passage. Maybe you are being taken advantage of. Maybe the activity you are engaged in is tedious. Maybe someone close to you is dishonest, irritating, or unconscious. But all this is irrelevant. Whether your thoughts and emotions about this situation are justified or not makes no difference. The fact is that you are resisting what is. You're trying to run shadow games and throw words and excuses and seeking validation, and all that is just trying to resist the obvious observation. You are making the present moment into an enemy. You are creating unhappiness. Your unhappiness is polluting not only your inner being and those around you, but also the collective human psyche of which you are an inseparable part. Because if you are addicted to the manipulation and the pain mind, or the pain body, through the conscious mind, or the conscious con as I call them, you are also contributing, and I know I said it right the first time, but you are also contributing to what's wrong with the world. You ain't Tom Hanks on an island with a volleyball hoping for rescue. Like, you created your own problem by not addressing the moment and being a coward. And in that following, you are amongst others, and in living that existence, then you encourage others behind you and beside you that it's okay. But then when it happens to you, you got a problem. The pollution of the planet is only an outward reflection of an inner psychic pollution. Millions of unconscious individuals not taking responsibility for their inner space. Either stop doing what you are doing, speak to the person concerned, and express fully what you feel, or drop the negativity that your mind has created around the situation, and that serves no purpose whatsoever except to strengthen a false sense of self. You are going to validate your wrongdoing to convince yourself that what you did really wasn't that serious, because you are more interested in people pleasing and having people feel sorry for you. No different than a little child that, touched the light socket and you had to address it. Recognizing its futility is important. Negativity is never the optimum way of dealing with any situation. In fact, in most cases, it keeps you stuck in it, blocking real change. Anything that is done with negative energy will be contaminated by it, and in time give rise to more pain and unhappiness. And, in frustrated people, may I note that if you feel this charge, you're also a contributor by, not fully identifying but continue to live within this uncomfortableness that causes this feeling of unpleasantness. You know what I'm saying? So, your best resolution is to, try to remove yourself from that situation as soon as you can, if it doesn't resolve itself in a sooner point. Unhappiness spreads more easily than a physical disease. It triggers and feeds latent negativity in others, unless they are immune, that is, highly conscious. So, if you are unhappy and continue to create body pain situations through your consistent immaturity being utilized by your actions, which is your autopilot, your unconscious self. If you move in a pain body, that is addictive, and that doesn't resonate well with other people. They could be infected simply of the fact that you're infected, and when you exchange conversation or communication, like that is going to filter out and resonate with that person, and their reaction might be of a certain equal or lower degree in the insecure elements than you. But if there's a extremely conscious person, they're able to recognize what's going on and go through different forms of awareness, and usually meditation techniques in order to decompress from being in those moments of confused and unorganized, immature minds. So in counter conversation, it questions, how can we drop negativity as you suggest? By dropping it. Simple. If you don't want to be negative, then you have to just say, whenever I know that I am negative, which is most often, if not all, then I have to continue to address that and attack it immediately, knowing that that's who I am. That's how I've been manipulated and controlled by the evil in me. Conscious con. How do you drop a piece of hot coal that you are holding in your hand? Right? Immediately. How do you drop some heavy and useless baggage that you are carrying? Immediately. By recognizing that you don't want to suffer the pain or carry the burden anymore, and then letting go of it. You know, like I said, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. So one day I was like, you know what? You ain't going to be sick and tired. And anybody that's sick and tired, or you around people that are sick and tired, like, you have to find immediate decompression moments, as well as find the quickest exit out of the damn mousetrap. You know what I'm saying? Deep unconsciousness usually needs to be transmuted through acceptance, combined with the light of your presence, your sustained attention. You need to accept who you have been through the control of your manipulative self, and not in a sense of pity or, you know, trying to demonize it, you know, but really just understand and be honest and say, yeah, this is a part of my constant function and processing. And the deepest part of me doesn't want that. It doesn't agree with it. And I say I want to be different. Well, then now I have to make it a point to actually assert myself in many future moments to be different. Many patterns in ordinary unconsciousness, on the other hand, can simply be dropped once you know that you don't want them and don't need them anymore. Once you realize that, you have a choice, that you are not just a bundle of conditioned reflexes. All this implies that you are able to access the power of now. Without it, you have no choice. So encounter conversation. In question, if you call some emotions negative, aren't you really saying that they shouldn't be there? That it's not okay to have those emotions? Now, before I finish, I'm going to say, no, it's part of the human makeup, the physical makeup, the construct of being physically human. You know what I'm saying? There's a duality within you. It's just being most aware to be extremely in your deepest subconscious understanding, knowing that that conscious con is always around, and that he's just gonna maybe make a quick Sandman appearance, again in reference to Showtime at the Apollo for all the old school heads. But once that clown or that jester pops up, you know, that quick minute, you're like, all right, enough. Like, you already had your minute and that was cool, but like, yeah, that's not how we run our full program. That's almost like we just giving you a commercial break. That's it. All you get is a commercial break. And then the rest of the main programming is dealt on maturity. We should give ourselves permission to have whatever feelings come up. It's okay to feel resentful It's okay to be angry, irritated, moody, or whatever otherwise we get into repression, inner conflict, or denial. So they're basically in counter conversation, like, these things would be normal. Like, isn't it okay to, feel these things and, kind of let them linger and fester over them? And again, the answer is no, because, why would you want to have long pain? Why would you want to have long misery? Like, you don't have to do that. But if you think like that's the way that you're supposed to be, then you have the wrong side of you communicating, or you're listening with the wrong perception in the wrong ear. Once a mind pattern, an emotion or reaction, let me repeat myself. Once a mind pattern, an emotion or a reaction is there, accept it. Again, once a mind pattern, an emotion, or a reaction is there, accept it. Once you vent immediately the anger, like, accept you already did that. You know what I'm saying? But following up, you should immediately process and move towards, I just like vented right quick and that just happened, but let me not move forward in that pattern of de-evolution. So let me decompress, and that way I'm able to monitor and reformat my heart rate and be able to run back smooth. So again, once a mind pattern, an emotion or reaction is there, accept it. You were not conscious enough to have a choice in the matter. You know what I'm saying? The conscious con just jumped out, just on impulse. That's not a judgment, just a fact. If you had a choice or realized that you do have a choice, would you choose suffering or joy, ease or unease, peace or conflict? Would you choose a thought or feeling that cuts you off from your natural state of being, the joy of life within? Any such feeling I call negative, which simply means bad, not in the sense that you shouldn't have done that, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just impulsive instinct based on, that character, that conscious con, that clown, that jester. You can't fully get rid of him. You just have to keep him in check, in control. Not in the sense that you shouldn't have done that again, but just plain factual bad, like feeling sick in the stomach. Humans are a dangerously insane and very sick species. That's not a judgment, it's a fact. It is also a fact that the sanity is there underneath the madness. It is certainly true that when you accept your resentment, moodiness, anger, and so on, you are no longer forced to act them out blindly, and you are less likely to project them onto others. So when you keep it real with yourself, you definitely keep it real with others. For anybody in that street terminology of communicating, if you keep it real with yourself, you are gonna automatically, instinctively be able to keep it real with others. If you are faking the funk with yourself, then you automatically, easily find it convenient to lie to others. It's just instinct, autopilot. Like, you just do it on impulse. And that is insulting to people that are conscious. And they ain't going to want to mess with you. They ain't even have to argue with you. And even if they, make a very strong addressing of it, you know what I'm saying? They immediately like, yo, I got to move on from this character because I don't roll like this. This don't make no sense, and I'm not into being frustrated. It is certainly true that when you accept your resentment, moodiness, anger, and so on, you are no longer forced to act them out blindly. You are less likely to project them onto others. When you have been practicing acceptance for a while, there comes a point when you need to go on to the next stage, where those negative emotions are not created anymore. If you don't, your acceptance just becomes a mental label that allows your ego to continue to indulge in unhappiness and so strengthen its sense of separation from other people. Like I said before, they ain't gonna want to mess with you. You know what I'm saying? Because you always speak in false tongue. So if you don't, your acceptance just becomes, again, if you don't change, your acceptance just becomes a mental label that allows your ego to continue to indulge in unhappiness and so strengthen its sense of separation from other people, your surroundings, your here and now. As you know, separation is the basis for ego's sense of identity. If you really knew deeply that everything is okay as you put it, and which of course is true, then you would have those negative feelings in the first place. Without judgment, without resistance to what is, there would not arise. They would not arise. Like once you enlightened, those things aren't gonna, be at high level, and even if they do momentarily appear, it's not gonna be for long. It's going to decompress into aware conversation to what is. You have an idea in your mind that everything is okay, but deep down you don't believe it. And so the old mental emotional patterns of resistance are still in place. That what makes you feel bad. So when you're like, not really in the moment and the now and accepting what is, you just kind of dismissing it, and you still kind of festering, and someone's like, yeah, man, you're going to be okay. And you're like, oh, yeah, everything's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't really believe it, and you know that you're not okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, you still have a high level of resentment and anger. And, that is, called abuse. You're abusing yourself with not accepting, what just happened and adjusting to the moment. Once you realize that a certain kind of food makes you sick, would you carry on eating that food and keep asserting that it is okay to be sick? You know what I'm saying? Like, that makes a whole lot of sense just reading it off the tongue. Like, yeah, why would you, if you know something ain't good for you, why continue to do it? Unless you like the pain, unless you like being sick, unless you like not being accepted by, authentic people. If you like being alone and isolated, you know what I'm saying? Then, continue to, fake the funk. Wherever you are, be totally there. This is something I talk about a lot, because if you aren't fully committed, you know what I'm saying, then you can't be surprised about the results on the back end. You know what I'm saying? And I honestly might save this for one more conversation, because I don't really want to squeeze it all in. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to give enough room to go through this last set of explanations. You know what I'm saying? And this will put us at a comfortable moment, so we're not gonna overpress. You know what I'm saying? We're just gonna let this marinate and soak in for your immediate attention on everything that we just addressed. But again, you don't have to always have problems or always have bad luck. Like, that's not just some fruition of mystery or some fathom of a fairy tale. You know what I'm saying? Like, who you are and the way you think registers into the things that happen and don't happen to you. Depending on who you decide to run the show. Is it the ringmaster or is it the clown? You know what I'm saying? Because if it's the clown, then you're going to wind up having a bunch of difficulty, laughter, confusion, tripping, you know what I'm saying? Like all kind of uncertain moves and all kind of uncertain results behind the identity of the clown. But if you a ringmaster, then you're able to control all those other elements within the circus, within the tent of the circus, which are all the elements of you. The roar of the lion, the cowardice of, I was thinking of, the woman with the beard, the bearded woman, you know what I'm saying? Because, they want to kind of isolate, you know what I'm saying? But not to go into too many specific references into circus terminology, but the main thing I'm trying to explain is that the ringmaster controls the show. It directs who has whatever time on the stage, you know what I'm saying? And mostly the ringmaster is the conductor. So the ringmaster should have ample time just directing the different characters within the circus on how they should move and how they should organize in their self-entertainment or self progressiveness. So really be honest and truly intuitive into your manipulative self. And you have to be honest and not in a sense of pity, but more of disgust at yourself, not others, and how they have reacted to how you have always been. You know what I'm saying? Because tomorrow's another day. And if you get that under control now, I promise you that when you start to identify different in this next movement and moment, it is going to feel relieving. So this is your Sensei Fouché, neighborhood Sensei Fouché, telling all y'all to stay woke and relax, and take notes. And remember to be smooth. And if you don't love yourself, learn to forgive yourself for all the things you have did and what you don't want to be, and then you'll be able to move forward. 1.